Scarlett Johansson's a pretty attractive and half-decent actress, so you would think that she'd be flattered every time that she got a compliment or was cast as the extremely attractive character in a movie. And for her whole career, she's been perfectly fine with the way that she's been portrayed in movies up until the last Avengers film, and of course, now that Black Widow, a film about female empowerment that references the Me Too movement, is about to release. She decided to go into an interview and rant about Black Widow's hypersexualization and the hypersexualization she's faced in the industry in general. So it says Scarlett Johansson criticizes Black Widow's hypersexualization in Iron Man 2. So actress Scarlett Johansson took issue with the portrayal of Black Widow in Iron Man 2 while promoting her upcoming Black Widow film. Wow, guys, she is rich, famous, works for a giant company like Marvel, and is in a new giant film every single year. And now she's receiving compliments that she's beautiful. I can't imagine how hard of a life she has. I mean, wow. She must struggle so much every day. She is the definition of a strong, independent woman. She doesn't need your compliments, okay, guys? I mean, come on. Do you guys see how stuck up and snobby and entitled this sounds? Is it just me here? So it says Johansson specifically took issue with the way that she describes as the character's hypersexualization was portrayed in Iron Man 2 in a newly published interview with Collider that they claim was done back in 2019 to promote the film's 2020 release. I'm trying to keep in mind here that Black Widow has been delayed a couple of times, so maybe this was actually done in 2019, but a lot of people have a suspicion that this was actually done this year to promote Black Widow, and they kind of put an older date on it. I don't know if I really believe that, but it says Johansson is prompted by Collider to discuss the topic when they asked, there is a sort of sexualization of superheroes. How does that affect Black Widow? I just want to say that we are talking about fictional characters, and while they are being portrayed by real people, the real people who are portraying them knew what they signed up for. They knew that they were going to be part of a giant cinematic universe. They knew that they were going to be in big blockbuster hits. They knew that they were going to have a lot of eyes and a lot of attention on them. But it says she responded, yeah, it definitely has changed. And I think part of that change has probably, it's hard because I'm inside it, but probably a lot of that is actually from me too. I'll be 35 years old and I'm a mom, and my life is just different now. Obviously, 10 years have passed and things have changed, but I have a much different, more evolved understanding of myself, she continued. Now, I think that this is a very calculated move here. She might see the possibility of being cast in roles where playing sexy characters are over, so she's banking on these movements to set up for the next big phase of her career. She points out that she's a 35-year-old mom, so to me it seems pretty obvious that she's worried that those days of the strong, sexy female roles are over, and if she thought that she'd still get those roles, I bet that she wouldn't be making these statements. I've never seen Mila Jovovich and Angelina Jolie complain, oh, I'm just too sexy. They're still acting, they're attractive women, and they still get lead roles. It just all seems very, very calculated to me. But it says that she went on to discuss the hypersexualization of Black Widow in Iron Man 2. All of that is related to that move away from that kind of hypersexualization of this character, and I mean, if you look back at something like Iron Man 2, and while it was really fun and had a lot of great moments in it, the character is so sexualized, you know, all because Tony Stark makes one comment about her being a very attractive woman. She continued, really talked about like she's a piece of something, like a possession or a thing or whatever, like a piece of ass, really. It's pretty clear that she just had an issue with one single line in a movie, and all of this is being brought up now, after the fact, many, many years later. If she really had a problem with it, you'd think that maybe years ago she would have said, I don't like the way that my character is portrayed, but it's only now that her movie about female empowerment that references the Me Too movement is coming out. It says, maybe I even would have, my own self-worth was probably measured against that type of comment, or like a lot of young women, you come into your own and you understand your own self-worth. I'm changing now. It's changing now. She concluded, now people, young girls, are getting a much more positive message, but it's been incredible to be a part of that shift and be able to come out on the other side and be a part of that old story, but also progress, evolve. I think it's pretty cool. She is complaining about the fact that she played a character that has always been very sexy. She knew what she was signing up for. This is why she got hired, because she looked the part, she could act, and she's an attractive woman, and Black Widow is just attractive. Is it that hard to accept you're playing a character here? Now, scrolling down, it says this isn't the first time that she has talked about hypersexualization. Back in November 2019, and keep in mind that they're saying that this interview was also done in 2019, she appeared on the Hollywood Reporter's Oscar Actress Roundtable, where she said she regretted being typecast as hypersexualized. She answered a question from the Hollywood Reporter's Rebecca Ford, who asked, "I'm curious how important it is for all of you to shift what people expect of you based on your choices." And she said, it's so different now. The climate is so different now. There are so many wonderful opportunities for women of every age to play all different types of people. I know that when you're an actor, you want to just sign up for every role you can, and it probably looked like a good opportunity at the time to be part of something as big as the MCU, but if you weren't okay with it, why did you do it? I mean, come on, there are plenty of women who fangirled over Chris Hemsworth as Thor. There's women fangirling over Loki, and that is okay. You should appreciate that so many people like you and think that you're attractive. It's not that hard to deal with people looking at you and going, oh my gosh, you are the most attractive person I've ever seen. It's not like they're saying it and they're trying to objectify you. They're just saying you're playing a sexy character, the outfit you're wearing is sexy, and you're an attractive woman. I genuinely don't understand why she's so offended by the fact that people think that she's attractive. There are so many people that would love to be famous, rich, and attractive. I don't understand it. I mean, come on. It's not just her that was being, fangirled over by people. There are plenty of women who fangirled over Chris Hemsworth as Thor. There's women fangirling over Loki, and that's okay. You should just appreciate that so many people think that you and your character are attractive. She went on to say that I feel when I was working in my early 20s, I felt that somehow I got typecast and I was very hypersexualized. I guess at the time it seemed okay to everyone, but it was another time. Oh, apparently now attractive women aren't okay, attractive characters. Nope, we can't have that in Hollywood now. Even though it wasn't part of my own narrative, it was kind of crafted for me by probably a bunch of dudes in the industry. You walked into playing Black Widow, a character that in the comics has always been very sexy and has always worn very sexy outfits. I don't understand why you're blaming dudes in the industry. You could have researched the character, looked up the character before you decided to portray her. But it says, I guess that worked then, but it was really difficult for me to try and figure out how to get out of being an ingenuine or other woman. She said, I had been working since I was 8 years old, and certainly that was never a goal of mine. What was a goal of yours then, Scarlett Johansson? To be rich? To be famous? To be a big actress? Because let's go to a list of the highest paid actresses in the world according to 2019. I wonder who number one is. She's acting like she threw away her career, like she's not getting roles, like she was kicked out of the industry. I mean, come on, how much more can you whine and complain? And it's fine if she wants to go to a different phase in her life, because people do definitely have different phases of their lives and their careers, but to literally call out your old work because you suddenly don't like the way that you were portrayed, or maybe even because you're just trying to virtue signal because you want to defend your new movie and you're hoping people will go to see your new movie. It's not okay. It's BS. But she continued on with saying, I sort of had to shake it up a little bit because I just couldn't seem to. I didn't want to work on stuff that I knew how to do and knew I could do it and was like, what is this? I remember thinking at the time, maybe I need a different job in the industry that would sort of be more fulfilling because that seemed to go nowhere. She continued. She went on to detail how a stint on Broadway changed her outlook, and so I actually had the opportunity to do a play, which is great for her. If that's what she wants to do, you do it. Do whatever makes you happy. But should you be complaining about, oh my gosh, I was hypersexualized? I don't hate Black Widow, but this new Black Widow movie just sounds really, really mediocre. It just sounds really bad. I'd love to see more strong, sexy female characters in the MCU kicking ass and chewing bubblegum, but I feel like this movie's just, I don't know, 10 years too late in the way that the marketing's been for it. Just sounds like a disaster. They've specified there's going to be Me Too references. It's about female empowerment and about her story and her origin. All these actors and actresses do is virtue signal because they're afraid if they don't, that they won't get jobs anymore. Her comments about turning 35 and being a mom says to me that she's worried that she can't get the same type of roles she used to, so she's trying to rebrand herself and the type of actress she is. And like I said, I think that it's fine for an actress to have different phases of their careers, but to literally call out their old work they've had no problems with for years is absolutely BS. But let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.